You're just being dramatic again, Anna, my dad sighed, barely looking up from his newspaper as I doubled over the kitchen sink, my breakfast threatening to make a reappearance. My stepmom, Diana, placed a gentle hand on my back, her concerned expression not quite reaching her eyes. Maybe you should stay home from school today, she suggested, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. I'll make you my special tea. It always helps with stomach aches. The thought of drinking anything she prepared made my stomach churn even more. This had been going on for months, ever since Diana moved in after their quick marriage. Every meal she prepared left me sick, dizzy, and sometimes even passing out. No, I managed to say, straightening up and wiping my mouth. I have a chemistry test today. I can't miss it. Plus, I had started bringing my own lunch to school, and mysteriously, I never got sick when I ate food I prepared myself. Deanna's eyes narrowed slightly, but her smile remained fixed. Such a dedicated student, she cooed, turning to my dad. Isn't she amazing, Robert? Dad just grunted, still absorbed in his paper. He hadn't really looked at me since he married Diana 6 months ago. It was like he traded his daughter for his new wife, and I was just an inconvenient reminder of his previous life. I grabbed my backpack and headed for the door, my legs shaky but determined. As I reached for the handle, Diana called out, "Wait, I made you a smoothie for the road. Extra protein to help with your episodes." She held out a travel mug, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against the stainless steel. Something in her eyes made my skin crawl. "Thanks, but I'm running late," I lied, practically running out the door. Behind me, I heard her telling Dad how ungrateful I was, and his murmured agreement made my heart ache. At school, my best friend Olivia took one look at me and frowned. "You look like death warmed over," she said, pulling me aside. "This isn't normal, Anna. How long are you going to ignore what's happening?" I slumped against the lockers, exhausted. What am I supposed to do? Every time I mention feeling sick, Dad says I'm being dramatic. Diana acts concerned, but I trailed off, not wanting to voice my suspicions. "But she's poisoning you," Olivia finished flatly. "We both know it. The episodes only happen when you eat her food. You're fine when you stay at my house or bring your own lunch." "That's crazy," I whispered, but my heart was pounding. "Why would she want to poison me?" "Because you're the only thing standing between her and your dad's inheritance from your mom," Olivia said. "Remember how interested she got when she found out about the trust fund you get at 18? My mom had died 3 years ago, leaving behind a substantial inheritance that would become mine when I turned 18, just 6 months away. Dad had control of it until then, but he couldn't touch the principal, unless something happened to me. I've been documenting everything," Olivia continued, pulling out her phone. "Every time you get sick, what you ate, when it happened. I've even been taking pictures. You've lost 15 pounds in 2 months, Anna. This isn't in your head." Looking at the photos, I barely recognized myself. My normally healthy complexion was pale and drawn, dark circles under my eyes making me look years older. When had this happened? "We need proof," I said finally, my voice shaking. "Real proof, not just suspicions." Olivia squeezed my hand. "My aunt's a nurse at County General. She's working today. Let's skip chemistry and get you a blood test. If Diana is poisoning you, it'll show up." The thought of missing my test made my stomach clench, but not as much as the thought of going home to another one of Diana's special meals. I nodded. 2 hours later, I sat in an exam room while Olivia's aunt drew vials of blood. She didn't ask many questions, but her expression grew increasingly concerned as Olivia listed my symptoms. "The results should be back in a few hours," she said, labeling the last vial. "I'm marking it urgent. Anna, do you have somewhere safe to stay tonight?" The question made my blood run cold. Even the medical professional thought I was in danger. "She can stay with me," Olivia said quickly. "My mom already said it's okay." I sent Dad a text saying I was studying late at Olivia's. His reply was immediate. "Diana's making her famous pot roast. Come home for dinner." My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from Diana. "Don't disappoint your father. Family dinner is important. I made it specially for you." Looking at her message, I felt a chill run down my spine. For the first time, I let myself fully acknowledge what I'd known deep down for months. My stepmom was trying to kill me, and my dad was too blind to see it. "We'll have the results soon," Olivia's aunt said, patting my hand. "Try to rest." But rest was impossible. All I could do was wait and wonder, what would the blood test reveal? And more importantly, what would I do when it did? The hospital waiting room felt like it was closing in on me. Olivia paced back and forth while I stared at my phone, watching the messages pile up. Dad, Diana's worried about you. Come home now. Diana, the pot roast is getting cold, sweetie. I made your favorite gravy. Dad, stop being difficult. You're upsetting Diana. Each message made me feel sicker than the last. My hands shook as I turned off my phone, unable to bear any more of their manipulation. Anna Matthews, a voice called. I looked up to see Olivia's aunt with a doctor I didn't recognize. Their faces were grave. We need to talk about your test results, the doctor said, leading us to a private room. I'm Dr. Martinez, head of toxicology. What we found in your blood work is disturbing. He pulled up some charts on his computer screen. Your blood shows elevated levels of thallium, a highly toxic heavy metal. It's often called the poisoner's poison because it's colorless, odorless, and the symptoms can mimic other illnesses. My heart stopped. Thallium. Yes. It's commonly found in rat poison, but it's strictly controlled. Someone would have to deliberately obtain it and administer it regularly to cause these levels. Dr. Martinez leaned forward. Anna, is there someone who might want to harm you? Before I could answer, the door burst open. A police detective walked in, followed by 2 uniformed officers. I'm Detective Sarah Torres, she said, showing her badge. The hospital called us when they saw your results. We need to ask you some questions. The next hour was a blur. I told them everything. The mysterious illnesses that started when Diana moved in, how I only got sick from her food, the trust fund I'd inherit in 6 months. Detective Torres recorded everything while her partner took notes. We've seen this before, Detective Torres said grimly. The gradual poisoning, the gaslighting, the inheritance motive. Your father's new wife fits the profile perfectly. But my dad, I started, tears finally spilling. He wouldn't let her. Your father might be a victim of manipulation himself, she said gently, or he might be involved. We'll need to investigate both possibilities. Suddenly, my phone rang. Dad again. Detective Torres nodded. Answer it. Put it on speaker. Anna, where are you? Dad's voice was angry. Diana's been cooking all day, and you're being incredibly rude. I'm at the hospital, Dad, I said, my voice shaking. Getting blood tests. For heaven's sake, not this attention-seeking behavior again. Diana was right, you're just jealous of her. Come home now, or what, Dad? I interrupted, finding strength in my anger. Or you'll let her poison me again. Silence. Then Diana's voice in the background. Robert, she's being ridiculous. You know I'd never. We have the blood tests, I continued. They found thallium. The police are here. The phone clattered on their end. I heard Diana's muffled voice. They can't prove anything. Robert, tell them. Detective Torres took the phone. Mr. Matthews, this is Detective Torres from Metro PD. Stay where you are. Officers are on their way to your location. She hung up and turned to me. You'll need to stay in the hospital overnight for treatment and monitoring. We'll have officers posted outside your door. What's going to happen now? I asked, feeling overwhelmed. We'll search your house, she explained. If we find thallium, Diana will be arrested. We'll need to determine your father's level of involvement. Olivia, who had been quietly supportive throughout everything, finally spoke up. She can stay with us after she's released. My mom already said so. Detective Torres nodded approvingly. That's good. You'll need a safe place. An hour later, my phone buzzed with a text from our neighbor. Police cars at your house. Diana tried to run. They caught her at the end of the street. I should have felt relieved, but all I felt was tired. Tired of being sick, tired of not being believed, tired of having to fight for my life in my own home. Get some rest, Olivia's aunt said, adjusting my IV. You're safe now. But as I lay in the hospital bed, watching police officers station themselves outside my door, I wondered, was I really safe? And how had my life turned into something out of a crime show? More importantly, what would happen when I finally had to face my father again? The man who had chosen to believe his new wife over his own daughter, who had watched me waste away and called it dramatic. Could any blood test repair that kind of betrayal? The medication they gave me started to take effect, And as I drifted off, I heard Detective Torres on the phone in the hallway. Search the kitchen first. Focus on the tea collection and any powdered supplements. And check the smoothie in the travel mug by the sink. Something tells me we'll find exactly what we're looking for. 3 days later, I sat in Detective Torres' office, staring at the evidence photos spread across her desk. The search of our house had revealed everything. Packets of thallium hidden in Diana's specialty collection, traces of poison in her protein powder, and detailed notes about dosages in her personal diary. She was methodical, Detective Torres explained. Started with small doses, gradually increasing them. Her diary shows she was planning to deliver a fatal dose on your birthday, 3 weeks from now. My stomach lurched. And my dad. She sighed, shuffling some papers. Your father was willfully ignorant, but we found no evidence he knew about the poisoning. He's facing charges of child endangerment and neglect, but not attempted murder like Diana. I nodded, feeling strangely numb. Dad was being held in a different jail from Diana, and both were denied bail. My phone was full of voicemails from him, ranging from angry accusations to tearful apologies. I hadn't listened to any of them. There's something else, Detective Torres said, pulling out another document. When we searched Diana's computer, we found searches about your mother's death 3 years ago. My head snapped up. What? She was researching your mother's symptoms before her accident. We've reopened that investigation. The implications hit me like a truck. Had Diana been in our lives even before she married Dad? Had Mom's death really been an accident? The DA is offering Diana a deal, Detective Torres continued. If she cooperates with the investigation into your mother's death, they'll recommend a lighter sentence for your poisoning. I stood up abruptly, needing to move. I can't think about that right now. You don't have to. Focus on getting better. The hospital says your thallium levels are dropping, but you'll need ongoing treatment. I was staying with Olivia's family, who had become my sanctuary. Her mom, a family court lawyer, was helping me file for emancipation. The trust fund my mom left would be enough to support me through college and beyond. That evening, as Olivia and I sat in her backyard, my phone rang with an unfamiliar number. It was Dad, calling from jail. Answer it, Olivia encouraged. You're safe now. He can't hurt you anymore. With shaking hands, I accepted the call. Anna, Dad's voice cracked. Princess, I'm so sorry. I should have listened. Should have protected you. Like you protected Mom? I asked coldly. His sharp intake of breath told me everything. What are you talking about? The police are reopening Mom's case, Dad. Did you know Diana back then? Did you know what she did? No, he protested. I met her at a grief support group 6 months before we married. She helped me through losing your mother. She helped herself to Mom's life, I corrected. And then she tried to help herself to mine. The silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken accusations. I failed you, he finally whispered. I failed both of you. Yes, you did. My voice was steady now. Goodbye, Dad. I hung up, feeling lighter somehow. Olivia squeezed my hand, and we watched the sunset together. 6 months later, I stood in court watching Diana's sentencing. She had taken the DA's deal, confessing to everything, including her role in my mother's death. She had been stalking our family for years, positioning herself to replace Mom and eventually me. Dad got 5 years for child endangerment. Diana got 25 to life. Neither sentence felt long enough, but at least it was over. I turned 18 the week after the sentencing, inheriting both my mom's trust fund and our family home. The first thing I did was hire a hazmat team to deep clean the kitchen. The second was to start therapy. Olivia's family helped me move back home, and slowly the house began to feel safe again. I replaced Diana's poison tea collection with my own carefully chosen herbs. I learned to cook for myself, finding joy in preparing meals that nourish rather than harmed. 1 year later, I stood in my kitchen, preparing dinner for Olivia and her family. The people who had believed me, protected me, and helped me rebuild my life. The acceptance letter to the forensic science program at State University was proudly displayed on my fridge. To new beginnings, Olivia's mom toasted at dinner. And to believing women when they say something's wrong, Olivia added firmly. I raised my glass, thinking of how far I come from that scared, sick girl who couldn't convince her own father she was being poisoned. To truth I said, no matter how bitter it tastes. Later that night, I added a final entry to my journal. Mom, I hope you're proud. I survived what killed you. I exposed the truth. And I promise I'll spend my life making sure no other daughter has to fight so hard to be believed. The bitter taste of betrayal would always linger, but I had transformed it into something powerful, a determination to protect others and a commitment to trust my own instincts. Sometimes the most toxic thing in our lives isn't the poison in our food, but the people who make us doubt our own truth. I was finally free, and more importantly, I was alive. That was the best revenge of all.